Ghosts in the courtyard? Snapping specters? The shortest short shorts of all time? Grab a snack and help us unpack all that and more. It's time for Ghost Files Debrief. Let's do it, big guy. Thank you for joining. I'm Ryan Bergara, and normally that thing over there is my colleague Shane Madej. However, for this episode, he's rightfully off enjoying fresh marital bliss. Regardless, each week, including this one, we look back at our most compelling evidence, no quotation marks, behind the scenes moments, and answer your burning questions. But actually, we do have a way to communicate with Shane.
Don't worry, Ryan, I am not here to banter with you, but I have recorded a vast array of various canned responses that the editor can sprinkle in throughout the episode. So it'll be a fairly seamless experience. It'll be like I'm here the entire time. You won't even know that I'm gone.
Well, that's really nice. Looks like we're gonna be able to talk to Shane from Spirits Above or whatever. I guess that makes it seem like he's dead. There's literally a skeleton wearing his jacket. But you know, this might be the best time I've ever had with Shane because I'll be able to shut him up when I want to. I just press a little button on the keyboard. We should hook this up to the real Shane when he gets back, right?
What do you got, Burgoos?
That totally made sense. All right, let's get on to our debrief of Dare2Escape, starting with a peek behind the scenes. That's right, everybody, it's time for everyone's favorite segment on Ghost Files Debrief. It's Carter's travel log.
Ryan's scoping out fast food joints.
I think it's Wendy's is the only thing that's like directly off the freeway.
I could vibe with that.
I could fuck with
I haven't had
Wendy's.
Wendy's. I do Wendy's.
Yep, got in late last night, but we're up at 7:51 because Ryan and Shane got us tickets to Universal Orlando. What are we doing today, man?
We're going to Universal Studios, baby. We're about to conquer this theme park. It's gonna be so good.
Follow the leader here.
Wow.
I've never seen that number in my life.
Wild.
Just watching theme park videos while we're in line in the theme park.
We need the context.
A real
Kind of sicko.
A real sicko.
Holy moly.
Your face.
Always working. Oh, little comment.
There we go.
Bye, Violet. It's good having you.
Yeah, we're gonna let you out.
Well, remember we said
You're gonna let me out. Thanks, Dad.
yeah. But I think I want you to have your hand in Kansas City.
Hey! Ah! Jesus Christ! God damn!
Oh, we're doing
Marker.
let's shut off the
Okay, you're at the top of Shadow Man Hill. Feel free to call for the Shadow Man.
Yeah, boys.
Incredible. Well done, Carter, as always. Nice to see Carter. A couple things to react to on that. We did not stand in that 245-minute line at Universal Orlando. That was for Hagrid's. We actually stood in the single rider line, which is why I was on my phone, and I wanted to see if the standby queue was like the single rider queue. I wanted to know if I missed anything, and I had. Another thing, too, is I saw some people out there mentioning how did Shane know some of the escape room things? And that's because, as you saw in this travel vlog, you saw Mark, our director, and Lizzie, our producer, and Carter, of course. They go through the day before the shoot so that they could do what we call a scout. And that's so they could see what the location looks like, know where they could set up certain cameras. And while they were there, the escape room let them in on the escape room secrets so that they could guide Shane to guide me when I'm doing my solo. That's how Shane knew all the things. It's not like Shane had extra time to figure out the escape room while we were shooting. And we eat a lot of fast food on this show. That's why Shane and I work out 24/7, just to maintain this figure. Otherwise, we would be a chicken nugget. God, you have such beautiful dark eyes. What am I doing? We could actually talk to Shane. What did you think of Carter's travel vlog, Shane?
So, I mean, it's always so nice to see Carter. You gotta love Carter. He's out there, he's pounding the pavement, he's putting in the steps, getting you the exclusive behind the scenes content that, frankly, you haven't seen, you know, and bless him.
Well, that's very nice of you to say, Shane. I mean, I agree, bless him, and he has been blessed. Have you seen Carter? Also included in that funny little travel vlog, your short shorts, Shane. Huh? Let's see if you have something funny to say about your short shorts.
Yeah, short shorts, you know? Sue me. You know, I got legs. I like to show them off. Is that a crime?
I like the short shorts for what it's worth. I'm wearing somewhat short shorts right now. Did they have to be that short, though? There was a couple near cutaways there that we had to take some stuff out in the edit, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Carter, number one on-set cousin. Speaking of number ones, pre-recorded, Shane, do you have a number one favorite room from this place?
That's very sweet of you to ask, Ryan.
Thank you.
Out of all the rooms that we were in, there was actually one that people didn't see, which was themed like a blockbuster, like an old blockbuster. The room that I most enjoyed that you saw within the episode was the circus room, because you didn't even see, there was a fun little sort of rig that they had to reveal the room with the balls. You had to I can't remember if you had to honk a clown's nose or something. I feel like I honked a clown's nose at some point. It was a fun little room. I love the circus room quite a bit. But I'm dying to know, Ryan, what was your favorite room?
Well, thank you for asking, Shane. I would probably have to say that courtyard room, just because the whole crawling mechanism was really fun. It's classic escape room shit. And I quite enjoyed it. Not in the moment, of course, but later when I was reflecting upon it after I was done crying, I was like, that's actually a pretty good room. Anyways, next up, if you've seen the episode, you know we caught some compelling pieces of evidence, but right now we want to shine a light on the evidence we missed and you, our eagle-eyed viewers, caught. I want to throw it way all the way back to episode 1 of this season, Missouri State Penitentiary. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, but for those of you who watched last debrief, you'll know that I tried to debunk a shadow figure as a cardboard cutout of Sonny Liston. However, we're not sure if that is in fact the case. You can see here from the still of the frame, the barred door isn't even on the same side as that cutout, so I actually don't know what that shadow figure was. Have we done it? You know what? Let's ask him.
I think that's likely the wind.
Let's do it one more time. I think we'll get a better answer.
Yeah, baby. Woo! Yeah. Okay.
That's right. You heard it here first. That's pretty much confirmation that that was in fact a ghost and that we've done it. Sorry, Shaniacs. That's probably what you all look like at home right now. Just dead and oh, my life, what does it mean? Anyways, on to this episode, now that we've confirmed that we did in fact catch an FBA, a shadow man at Missouri State Penitentiary. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, he congratulated me, how about that? Now on to this episode. The first piece we're going to look at is from X, formerly known as Twitter, or as I'm calling it now, Twix. Okay, so this one was submitted to us by B. At this point in the episode, you'll see that I'm walking down the hallway outside of the 7th room without my flashlight on, and I hear the Boo Buddy speak. B spotted some movement in the corner of the static cam that we didn't catch during editing. Let's check that out. It actually comes on command.
Can you make a noise for me? Can you make a noise for me?
So there is kind of like a misty white apparition, I suppose you could call it, or some kind of, I don't know, artifact, if you wanna, I'll give you artifact, how about that? I can't believe we missed that. I don't know what that is, and the fact that it comes at the exact time that there's a bump in the room is pretty crazy. We actually didn't put in a lot of the bumping that we heard in that room. There was a whole lot of rustling going on in that room, and of course that's where people see the Shadow Man, so good work, B. I think that's great evidence. Right, Shane?
Wow, Ryan, very cool.
Even though I know that's a pre-canned response, it somehow hurt all the same. Well, let's move on then. I was very excited about that. Thank you. At Noemik Rakoshkova 8732 said that they believe they hear a whisper of the name Nelson in response to Shane asking if Nelson was there around the 47-minute mark while the big guy is on his solo. Let's play that clip.
Is there a Nelson here among us?
Oh wait, I'm hearing something. Oh, I hear him.
Yeah, so I'm gonna.
Oh, I hear him.
Yeah, so
I could see how that somewhat sounds like Nelson. However, I do think this might be just Shane inhaling sharply. He does that a lot. He's got big lungs, and sometimes he has to fill them with his stupid air so that he could say stupid things. And speaking of stupid things, what do you think of that one, Shane?
I think that's likely the wind.
Okay. Well,
I think you're such a bright little boy, Ryan
shut
Bergara.
shut up.
Go, boys.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't want you guys to see mom and dad fight like that. I do think that was Shane inhaling just very sharply. He does that sometimes. I do that sometimes. We all do that as humans, and sometimes it can sound like a whisper, but I can't rule it out, outright. So perhaps it was Nelson responding to Shane, but if you're asking my opinion, I think that was an inhale. Anyways, thank you for submitting the evidence, but rounding out our fan spotted evidence, we've got a moment during the investigation where Shane and I are using the Ovulus, and it tells us to snap. Between snaps during the edit, we discovered there was some murmuring that we couldn't quite make out, but upon watching the episode, at I don't know what XD1256 said, they said it sounds like whatever it is, it's saying, that's right. Let's take a listen. You can show us a sign that you're in here. Could you speak to us, or can you move towards that red light?
Stop.
Ooh, why do you want us to stop? What? Nothing about this. Snap. In between snaps, we pick up what sounds like a voice whispering something we can't quite understand. After you said that it sounds like that's right, it really does sound like that. I don't know how we didn't figure that out ourselves. It sounds pretty clear. I agree with you. I think it says that's right. And I think maybe they're just liking the snapping that we do. Very good. We're good at snapping. We're the best snappers in the business. Amazing stuff, guys. Keep on keeping an eye out for us. And if you ever hear something, drop it in the comments below. This is a group effort. I do want to show you 2 clips that we did cut out of the episode. I was doing circles around the office because I was so excited because I thought, we've done it. We got some of the best evidence ever captured. And then unfortunately it was debunked. We'll just show the clip. Now, I thought this was incredible. However, we did learn that this was actually either one of our crew or one of the location staff resetting the room so that I could go on my solo. So unfortunately, we did have to debunk that one, but you could see why I'd be excited. And then another piece of evidence that we caught, at the end of a hallway, we see a dark figure.
Let's keep it clean.
Let's keep it tight.
Alrighty.
Now you'll see that figure, we can't really make out what it is. On the side of caution, we thought that it's best not to include that in the episode. We're just showing you guys this stuff just because we don't want you to think we're pulling the wool over your eyes at any point in this. Moving on to everyone's favorite little section. Isn't that right? Qua! Say it with me. Qua! Come on, say it with me. Qua! Say it with me. Say it. On this week's Qua, we're going to have our Ghost Files director, Mark, joining us, so I'm not stuck only talking to pre-recorded Shane and dead Shane. So why don't you come on in, Mark? Get on in here, Mark.
Oh, yeah,
Get
baby.
on in here. Have a seat. Have a seat right next to you.
yeah.
Okay, watch your step. And as you can see, we have Shane here about to give you a back massage. It kind of looks like Shane got hit by a ray gun from Mars Attacks, which I really enjoy.
Shorts got even shorter.
And just turned into that. Well, Mark, thank you for joining us on Qua, where we answer questions directly from you guys, the viewers at home, including at least 2 questions every week exclusively from our patrons over on Patreon. Now, Shane.
That's right, our patrons who also coincidentally get to watch every episode of Ghost Files a whole day early. That's exciting. That's exciting.
You've been on the show before, but for folks who haven't seen your appearances before, can you tell the folks at home what you do here on Ghost Files as a director?
So I help out with some of the scripts, trying to figure out like what's the narratives that make sense when we go to a place and helping figure out what evidence goes there. But to be honest, I'm more of a Shaniac, so it's harder for me. But I also shoot, as you probably have seen on this episode, on when I'm coming out of the maze with Shane.
Can we just get a freeze frame of Mark's face as he exits out of that little boo hole? That right there is the happiest I have ever seen Mark. I've worked with Mark for now close to 7 years. I've never seen him smile like that. And the only time he smiled like that is when he thought he was gonna give me a heart attack. And that does give me pause about our relationship. Speaking of which, you need a back massage?
Oh yeah, maybe later.
He's really good. He gives the best back massages, right?
He goes hard.
He does go really hard. Look at how happy he is about that. Anyways, let's get to our first question. This is from @StarryPsych. How do you quickly adapt to the constantly changing rooms and keeping a good camera angle? That escape room looked hard to navigate when I can barely take a good picture of someone in a small space.
It's tough. Yeah, we go to a lot of small spaces, and I'm pretty close to you guys.
Yeah, you are.
The scout actually helps a lot, so we could figure out, okay, where can I stand here when this is all happening?
And as a quick reminder, the scout is the location scout, which happens the day before we shoot.
Shane and Ryan usually have not seen the place because we want it to be authentic of them investigating. And it helps having so many cameras that we're working with. Like, thank God for Ethan. He did an amazing job cutting around this. Little tidbit, if you notice, I think it was on your solo, where it's, or Shane, on his solo where it's all black and white, because one of his cameras cut out, but you don't notice it that much because amazing editing. Ethan,
That's true.
Thank you. But yeah, the editing helps a lot with that and all of our cameras.
Let's move on to the next question here. From @thegoodmangrace, Mark, what is the most annoying thing Ryan and Shane do on hunts?
Is it both of them? Well, they banter so much. Like this episode, just so you know, it's edited, meaning this is the best that we could get for this episode. There's so much banter, there's so much fart and ball jokes that we have to trim down.
And I will say, and I'm gonna clear the air now, that was actually an accident. I truly did not mean to pass gas. However, sometimes the body does what the body does. The body wants what it wants. And right there, the body wanted everyone to know that it was there. I lifted my legs up in squatty potty fashion like this. And once you do that, you're really opening up a passageway. And sometimes things escape. The train comes out of the tunnel as they speak.
So I have to hear all of this and imagine plus Shane. And I have to be like, okay, we gotta move on. Enough of that. But we're still in it.
Yeah. You know, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. I actually tried to cut down this episode myself a little bit. There was one too many ball and shorts jokes, so I cut some of them out. Anyways, next question. Cheryl, aka @CryptidChick, wants to know, how do you wind down after the night shoots so that you can get a good night's morning sleep? Does coming off of a crazy shoot in the early hours of the morning leave you a little weird? Well, you don't really sleep that much. Often.
I know how you wind down.
How do I wind down? Oh, well, sometimes we have some brewskis in the room. Look, it's a very stressful environment. You need to kind of grease up the hinges, as they say.
It does take a little bit of time to wind down, because after the ghost hunt, even though we're exhausted, at least for me, I'm still sort of awake and buzzing.
Yeah.
After all that, but like your body is tired.
Well, you have all the logistics in your mind and having to execute the episode, and Shane and I are in Waka Waka land, so we also need a little bit of time to wind down, and everyone does. So it's a hard job, but it's these times after the shoots when we all get to hang out and have some fun. That's what kind of makes the show worthwhile, and that's why we've had pretty much the same crew since we've started this thing. Another cue, here we go. @StartHowell asks, in your opinion, what's the most compelling / spookiest evidence that's happened while you've been filming Ghost Files?
Our first episode, Waverly.
Yeah.
Essentially that first evidence we captured.
Yeah, the hum.
To me, the hum was spooky, but It's still not enough to make me believe that's a ghost. I have to see it.
Sigh.
But I am the person who wants to believe in ghosts, where I think the world would be a much more interesting place if ghosts exist.
This one comes from @NoTurnips, please. Ryan, now that it's been a while since filming, how do you feel about the noise heard while you were walking down the hallway outside the door to the Shadow Man room? Because I would have ran. #Bergara. I actually thought that was one of the most compelling things we caught in this episode, the fact that it comes on command, and when you couple that with the fact that we got audience evidence from you guys, I think it's even more compelling because now we have a visual cue to match the audio cue.
I'm surprised you didn't run, to be honest.
Here's the one thing about this place that I'll say. The reason why it didn't freak me out as much, it's a smaller place, and because it's a smaller place, I often feel a little more comfortable in those kinds of places because I know for a fact that if something were to happen to me, like I have a heart attack or a ghost strangles me to death, the crew is pretty close by. They'll probably hear me, you know, screaming, going.
Carter's got your back.
Yeah, and Carter will come in and we'll kick that ghost's ass. Anyways, pretty compelling piece of evidence. I'm very proud of it. What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, it seems fake.
I'll kill him when he goes back.
Thanks,
That's
Shane.
fine.
I think that's likely the wind.
Another question here from Twix. We've got Monka SBB, former employee of Dare2Escape here. Did you guys play any of the rooms at all? I'd love to see how you guys fare in an escape room, LMAO. We did not play any of the rooms. We tried to. We just had no time. We don't really have a lot of time on these things.
Got a ghost hunt.
Which I know is rich because we did spend a whole day at Universal Orlando.
You guys did. I didn't.
You didn't. He was too tired.
No, I was working.
No, he was tired.
For this shoot. They went to Universal.
At Chesapeake, they ask, how did Shane feel after slapping the ghost's clock 9 times? I'm sure he felt very satisfied.
Let's ask Shane.
That's a very thoughtful comment. Thank you.
From at Saguaro918 on X, when you are reviewing the static cameras later and find out that something occurred, like a noise or movement, and you were not aware, do you ever wish you could go back to investigate it? Absolutely. This is something that is the bane of most investigators' existence, because we often do find things after the fact, and I always wish I could go back and then act upon those things. You know.
But thanks to the audience that really helps with all of our investigations.
And shout out to Becca Castaneda, who does help us sort through all of the static cams and all the audio to make sure that we get all the evidence that actually occurred in the episode. This is from @Sundritz on YouTube. Could the SLS camera ever pick up on your guy's own shadows as a human figure? No, it would not, because it is a 3D mapping device. That's actually how it sees things in night vision, because it uses IR light. Next YouTube question is from @FatherMellow. Question for Ryan, do you ever get tired from the amount of reaching you need to do for what those nonsense EVPs are saying? Like how that first one clearly doesn't say right.
Yeah,
No,
Ryan.
seems like there's no winning with you people. If I give you a clear piece, it's fake. If I don't give you a clear piece, it's like, oh, reach, bro. What do you want from me? We do put possibly there for a reason, because it is a suggestion. That might be what's happening. It might not be what's happening. But the fact of the matter is, there is something there. There is some sort of voice or some sort of noise. We don't know quite what it is. That's a suggestion.
We actually do a lot of effort making sure we're not trying to say, hey, this is what the sound is.
For sure, like definitively.
Yeah, that's the Ghost Files difference.
That's the Ghost Files difference. And, you know, at the end of the day, there is a noise. From @Daver Loto 4306. Nailed it. How do you guys choose to film in a location over the others? I imagine there are a lot of haunted old historical places, some with sad and terrible stories attached to investigate. But you chose a relatively new escape room with owners probably interested in having publicity about the supposed hauntings. I don't mean to sound rude. You guys are fantastic as always. Just wondering.
Ooh, these comments are spicy today.
Now, I did see a lot of this sentiment echoed in the comments. However, I have to say, this place, out of all the places that we've investigated, stood to gain the least. They don't run their business based on the fact that it's a haunted escape room. There is somewhat of a thing to gain in the fact that if it was a haunted place, maybe there will be more intrigue to go there. Yeah. But it's not the sole purpose of the place, where a place like Waverly, that is the sole purpose of that place. It runs haunted paranormal tours around the calendar.
And if you wanted like a control episode, this could be it. Like, this is such a fresh of breath air. Just
A breath of fresh air, you mean?
Breath of fresh air.
Yeah. You
What did I say?
You said fresh of breath of air.
That sounds better.
I will also say that there's something to be said about not having to go to a very sad place all the time where horrible things have happened. It's kind of nice to go to a place that might just be haunted because,
We've been to enough prisons.
Yeah, the Missouri State Penitentiary was quite sad. And, there were parts of the episode that we did not include because they were too sad. At the end of the day, these folks did not need us. They had a 4.8 star rating on Google reviews. It was already a very popular escape room that was booked the entire weekend that we were there, with the exception of our night because we booked them out. And also, one last thing here. I like the idea of a place like this or a home haunt because a lot of times we're going to these very historical places that are historically haunted or known around the paranormal world. And I find that if people are always mucking around in the dark trying to find these ghosts, it could actually influence the activity in a negative way where it won't be as active. However, if there's a home haunt or a business, like a dentist's office, that's like, hey, I think there's something in here, they're probably not lying. There probably is something going on, and I want to go to the places that are the most active right now, not a place who has a history for being active. There's a difference. So this was kind of an attempt at going to a place that is active in the moment. Let's get there while it's hot and catch the activity on camera. It gives us a good chance to catch something.
It's an absolutely wonderful question. Thank you for submitting that.
And finally, some questions from our beloved patrons over at Patreon. Gus Ortega, will we see more overnight stays at haunted places? Also, will we see the return of the one demonic investigation per season? You will not see an overnight stay this season. I still don't know. Because they don't make a lot of sense. We end these investigations at like 4 to 5 a.m. We have it until like 7 a.m. So that means the crew leaves and then comes back 2 hours later. We don't really get an opportunity to sleep there. And in the past, we didn't really capture a lot of evidence when we would do that. And the demonic episode, there might be one this season.
There's two demons here, but...
Nah, just two demons sitting and having some coffee. Mark, I'll let you take this last question from Hannah over on Patreon.
I love the little mini Dare2Escape at the start of the episode. Was this a special animation or was it provided by the venue? Also, why was this episode so horny? Jared did all of
Jared
our
Sosa.
graphics. Jared Sosa. This season, he took over all the graphics and it's
incredible.
It's amazing.
The little billboard of Ghost Files, amazing. Also in Missouri State Penitentiary, he made a little train, like a little steam train animated around the prison. And I saw that and I was like, ooh! Ooh!
And he does actually put little characters in there. I don't know if you see them, but sometimes there might be some ghouls in there. So keep an eye out on that.
That's very fun.
That's all Jared Sosa. And then, why was it so horny?
Sometimes it's just the state of mind that we're in when we're filming these things.
Florida.
The spirit moved me. And the Florida of it all,
The
perhaps.
weather. That's part of it.
Yeah, we're real hot and bothered. Shane, we're gonna see, what does Shane think about that one?
I don't know about that.
Well, that wraps up this investigation. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Ghost Files and Ghost Files Debrief.
Remember to submit your questions for the next episode on Patreon, YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram.
And again, if you'd like to see more behind the scenes content as well as see the episodes a whole day early, get on over to patreon.com/watcher.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Say bye.